Welcome back, guys. I'm down today filming a different video on a different TVR Vixen, but seeing as I was in the garage, it seemed like too good an opportunity not to look at the progression on the red Vixen. A lot has happened since you last saw us fit the body, get the engine running and do a bit of basic tuning on the carbs. So let's go and take a look.
The body's now secured to the chassis, so all pulled down and with some eye bolts doubling up there to take the seat belts.
Lovely.
And also internally the pedal box is in place.
Let me come around and have a look at that for you. What's the story with the pedal box?
The pedal box has been modified. It's a TR6 pedal box, and the clutch and brake are too close together in my experience of looking at somebody else's car. So I've modified the clutch pedal to move further across to the left where there's plenty of space, so that you've got an equivalent amount of space between those two pedals now that I've got on the Skoda Octavia on the drive, which is a nice comfortable distance.
It looks quite nicely set up for heel and toe, to be fair.
Yeah, and I intend, I got some aluminium angle over there, and I intend to put a rest down here, so you've got somewhere to rest your feet, rest your left foot.
Yeah.
This is a temporary seat, so you can operate the pedals, because the all the brakes have had, well, the final brake lines have been run, and because the pedal box is in place, the servo's in place, along
clutch
with
line as well. Didn't you have Hell made you a clutch line as well? Is that right?
yeah, a flexible over here down to the modification that we did with the installing a clutch slave cylinder down there.
Oh, like Teflon coating or something.
Yeah, Teflon coated. Yeah.
Nice touch.
So the brakes have all been bled through, all operating nicely on all four corners.
Servo takeoff, vacuum takeoff there.
That is going to there.
Got you.
But cool. It's just not connected up yet.
Lovely.
This has all been blanked off temporarily. And the temporary throttle arrangement that we made for doing the initial run when it was just in the chassis, that will be changed for a top mount throttle arrangement, probably going for the Weber's own Webcon arrangement that comes off of there and will come down to the throttle here. So that's going to be a cable arrangement to that. And then the process at the moment of making this airbox fit with a view to picking up the air down here with a new filter. And this car has got a modification of additional stays onto these inner arches that are only fitted last week. And this is going to foul this one, so I'm going to need to modify that one. And that one also allows the pickup amount for the horns as well. All these cables are just loose cables from when we were doing the remote running of the engine.
You've still got a, are you going to make a loom or go with the original loom?
No, I'll make a loom. I'll make a loom.
It makes sense for the amount of things that it's running.
So the airbox is in place now as well, and the blower.
So what, you've got matrix flow and return, which is picking up from where?
Well, from here. It's picking up from here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with. I'm going to change the plumbing arrangement.
Oh, you're going to go sealed, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go sealed, and that's the problem I've got. Is I did think I bought this to fit it, and I was going to mount it probably over here, not thinking about the fact that I've now got an airbox that's going to foul that. So I'm going to have to.
Or is that just generic?
It was a generic one, I think. If I'm honest, it's just one that I looked on eBay and thought might suit. The idea of the airbox is that the crankcase vent will go into the back of that backing plate for the airbox and take the crankcase fumes through there and then burn them through the carbs.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's the idea, rather than use an oil catch can. Another modification is the seat belts were normally a fixed static belt just secured on this point here through the fiberglass.
Literally just on fiberglass.
Just on fiberglass.
So
and
if you were in an accident, all of that
It's
force
just gonna-
goes through fiberglass,
Yeah.
tears the fiberglass, and yeah.
So at the point of doing the chassis, I, looking at weighing up the options, I welded a couple of plates on there with a view to doing something similar to what I've done now. The plates are through there. You can just see the back of them. You're probably easier to come around here and see the arrangement. But
this is going to allow you to run inertia reel.
yeah, I've had inertia reels mounted on there.
Yeah, I got you.
So that bracket there basically comes up to a sandwich plate there.
So you're solid mounted off the chassis
Yeah,
through
there.
the floor, well, rear floor.
The inertia reel fits here. The belt comes up to this is a pivot.
Cool.
And that is all solid and just covered in the same vinyl essentially as this, so that it looks hopefully not too far out of place.
Hides it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's the plan.
Wonderful. Well, that's pretty much where we're up to, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have said so. Yeah. I say I got to modify this. It's a bit too close to the body, so I'm gonna have to cut a section out of it. And this is fiberglass, so I'm gonna have to do something to improve the clearance down there, because once that engine starts moving, it's going to chatter against the body.
Wonderful. Moving forward, what's next?
Let's have a little think. Well, once that's done, I'll put the fuel tank in, and potentially then be able to run the engine with this arrangement we've got here.
Properly, like as it will be when
Yeah.
you're in the car.
Yeah, as it was running before. I intend to put the wheels on and put it on its wheels, but in a raised state.
Yeah.
So on the ramps that I've got over in the corner over there, and then be able to tighten the final wishbone bolts underneath, because the car will be under its own weight.
Got you.
And then that'll be all the chassis work finished. What is nice is that now it's been modified from a cable operation, the clutch, to hydraulics, and got that working about a week or so ago, and it's got a nice feel, the pedal. It really is. It seems good, and the brakes have all got a good feel as well. So
Nice.
fingers crossed.
One
I
thing
mean,
before we forget,
yeah,
we talked when we looked at the project up the road about the modification that's been made to that hoop,
yeah,
the chassis.
yeah,
That's quite pronounced, really, isn't it?
yeah, and it's the same on this chassis over here, that
Oh, this one's been because this is an S3 chassis.
S3 chassis. So you can see the difference
Yeah,
there.
that's massive, isn't it?
But
That's a
everything
huge
else
difference.
would have been pretty much the same as we were looking at up the road.
Yeah.
But you can see that there's far greater space to put the engine and box in
I think,
through that raised hoop than there would have been on the one up the road, wouldn't it?
I think they've done that for modification. RX-8 gearbox should fit in there quite nicely.
Well, there you are then. I mean, a lot of these things are mounted just temporarily from when we had the car run.
It was all when it was kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like bench run.
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
it?
that's just, I just laid it all on top of the engine, and that's it. But it won't. It will look a lot tidier when all those things are out of the way.
Nice. It's all coming together very nicely.
Well, it's getting there, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's not a million miles away, but
On the road by. Don't commit to it, Dad.
Christmas.
Which Christmas?
Yeah, that's the same. It's Christmas.
I said the garages were going to be done by Christmas. I
Yeah.
just didn't say which Christmas.
But the reason I got one wheel on as well back here.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at that, because these have been refurbed as well, haven't they now?
Yes, the wheels have been refurbed, all refurbed. In fact, that's the worst one. That's the spare. But he still looks pretty good. But that's a different pattern tread than the other four that I've got, which are better. And the reason I got a one wheel on and the other one blocked off with a piece of bar onto the floor, essentially.
Oh yeah, I saw you had them like.
The reason for that is because I've been mucking about with the clutch, getting the clutch operating. So with one side of the diff locked,
Yeah.
once it's in gear, somebody could come down and turn the other wheel to confirm that the clutch was actually operating when the gear was selected.
Is this so you can play around with your bite point?
Yeah, it confirms the bite point. It confirms the bite point
because you were saying there was adjustment on your push rod on your.
Well, there wasn't originally when first did all of that work on the floor.
I don't know if we can get in and see that.
Yeah, well, when it was on the floor, it was just a fixed push rod, and the bite point when I got it working a week or so back was right on the floor. So I extended the rod by welding the end to extend the length of it until I got the bite point up to a nice place. But it means I've still got no adjustment. If there's wear on the clutch plate, I've got no way of adjusting it. So the other day, myself and a friend using his lathe, we made a threaded adjustment to that rod, so that as wear occurs, you can get under there and just adjust the push rod to maintain a decent bite point.
Exciting. Do you know, I was a little bit hesitant when you painted that engine black. I was a bit worried that it wouldn't have enough kind of character to it, but with that little bit silvering and the red, it's nice. I'm happy. It looks good.
Yeah. Well, the inside of the bonnet would be black. You know, the outside red, obviously. You know, same body colour. Yeah. But the outside will be red. Unfortunately, I noticed I got a little pinhole leak on the radiator on that soldered seam there.
It's been recorded, hasn't it?
It's been recorded, but he sprung a leak, so I'll have to do a drain down and either have a go at it myself or take it back and just get him to put some solder on there and repressurise it. Do another pressure test, should I say? Well, now's the time, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, because
I was glad you found it now and not out on a hot summer day when you're out on a run.
I mean, all this is temporary. As I say, I do plan to go to the sealed arrangement once I can work out. I think I'll probably have to go for a smaller expansion bottle than that and mount it somewhere else.
It's all going in the right direction, Dad?
Yeah,
it's all going in the right direction.
It's going there, yeah.
So there we have it, a little update on the red Series 3 TVR Vixen. It's getting closer by the minute. It's currently January, it's very cold, and this on the road by the summer, first drive, should be a good day. Fingers crossed. See you soon.